Welcome to the Wealthworthy Podcast. I'm Trisha.
Hi, I'm Darian.
Thank you for joining us. This week we wanted to talk about controlling your burnout. It's been a long year. We've been working hard. Things have been flowing and you're making all of the achievements that you wanted for the year. And now it feels like you are exhausted. You need a break. You have to figure out something else that you could possibly do to get your emotional and mental state back to normal, where you can feel like things are flowing and you're not constantly on the go. And for me, I am definitely at that point now. We're about 3/4 of the way through the year and it just feels like I've been going nonstop. I think it also is because we've been in this at home status where you really aren't doing a ton outside of your day-to-day items, right? So whatever you set out to do for the day, you're more likely sticking to those things, or you could be in the camp of nothing got done because there's so many distractions just inside the house where you're not able to tackle the things that you really wanted to. But either way, there's a sense that you're getting overwhelmed, and even if you're not getting everything you wanted done, it just is a tiring situation regardless, based on how things are going with friends and family, based on how things are going in your own home. But it just can become a lot. So personally, I am also in a space now where I am looking to shut out some of the additional noise around me so that I can refocus on some of the things that are important to me. How do you feel your state currently is, Darian?
I think for me, I always take things one day at a time, but I'm really big on just not getting burned out. I always say, we talk about it a lot, just being able to give to yourself, because being able to give to yourself starts first with you, and then you can distribute your energy towards all the other things you have to do. I know that sounds easier said than done, but I just think about it. For you to be productive in whatever it is, you have to have energy, and get energy from getting rest and just kind of just doing a self check-in with yourself so that you don't get burned out. I think you kind of have to just be able to balance out everything, balance out your time, and just knowing like when to say no and when to say yes, because sometimes you just have to take a break, because the only way you're going to be able to accomplish the things you want to accomplish is by having enough energy. I mean, yes, we all work, but you have to be able to give to yourself first, then being able to give to your family, your job, so on. And I think it's just, like I said before, just knowing yourself and knowing when to check in and when to check out.
So the point there, I think that's important, is just figuring out how to manage your energy and what that really means for your lifestyle and the things that you're looking to accomplish. So in that vein, like you mentioned, saying no to certain things or know when to check in and out. But even with doing some of those things, I feel like you still end up in a situation where you're still taking on more than you might have the time to, or you have a long laundry list of things that you want to accomplish. And so if you tackle even just a few of them, you can still be in a space where you're using up all of the energy that you have. So what would be a few good ways to determine whether you are managing your energy well or not?
I think it just really starts with you. Like when you wake up in the morning, I think just taking that time to really evaluate the day and take it one day at a time. And also think about the week and then move on. Pretty much day, week, and month. And I think for the day, you would just start by waking up, or giving thanks to the Most High for giving you breath in your body. And then kind of taking it from there. Meditation is always good. I know for me personally, because I'm still out and about with work, I always try to do my meditation in the morning, especially like while I'm driving. Sometimes I just drive without any music. I just gotta think about it and just kind of pinpoint what I want to accomplish for that day, and then kind of what I want to accomplish for the week and also the month. But like I said, it's just important to know when to say no. I think when it comes to just yourself, your family, work, and then friends, everyone sometimes is always asking you to do stuff, and you feel like because you are a caring or a giving person, you have to be accessible to everyone at all out times, and like you really have to be weary of that because you don't want to get burnt out. Because for me, I just think about it personally. Like when you're burnt out, you're not gonna be productive in the things that you need to do. So like for instance, we all work 8-hour shifts. Some people work longer than that, but you all have things you want to accomplish, like dreams and goals. So even after you work that long shift at work on a normal day, you have to be able to give whatever it is you want to give to. And I think it's easier now because most people are working from home, so you really do have, I feel like you have more time. So you're not having to get in your car and drive 30, 45 minutes to work versus before you had to make those long commutes or even short commutes. But that, all of that takes away from time. It takes away from your energy, even sitting in traffic every day. So I just think just being able to be aware of what's going on and what you need is important.
I think for me, what I've noticed is that there are definitely instances where things that are important to me have been pushed to the side, and I'm only focused on the items that have immediate deadlines. So where I might typically enjoy my workout in the morning or focusing energy on some of the topics that we want to discuss here, like I've noticed that some of those items ends up taking a back seat as I get more stressed about immediate deadlines and trying to make sure everything gets done. And so for that purpose, I think it makes sense to realign the items that are most important to you, for sure, because you could be putting your energy into too many items that aren't at the top of your list, or it could be a time management thing where there are items that you can tackle day to day in order to still meet some of the pressing items that you have going on in your life without having to give up the things that are most important to you. Which is why like intermediate pauses make sense, where you can just reevaluate everything that's going on in your day to day, whether it still aligns with the items that you find most important. And it also gives you a chance to just pause without quitting, because sometimes it gets to a point where you just feel like I don't want to do any of this. I'm just going to put it all to the side, forget about even picking it back up. But just pausing for a short stint gives you a chance to say, you know what, this is something that's important to me, important to the goals that I'm looking to achieve. And so I need to reprioritize or shift priorities to make sure that I'm still tackling those things, right? So I guess another area that I would want to dive into is just how do you view getaways or vacations, right? Like those time frames or time blocks that we usually try to set aside to have fun and maybe not think about anything that you have going on. Like, how do you think about that in terms of helping to manage burnout?
I think it's very important. I think being able to get away from your job, even get away from your family and friends, is important. I think for me personally, I think everyone needs to take a 2-week break. It should be mandatory. And we all should work 4-day work week. So that's my dream of how I want to have our life set up. But it's very important because you can't always just be at a job 24/7. Like I think, like I always say, that's why they hire so many people for like companies, because when you're not there, somebody there to pick up the slack. Personally, I'm the type of person, I'm on vacation. I wouldn't even tell them I'm on vacation. Once I get off, I don't want to receive any phone calls. All of it can wait till the next day because I'm off the clock and I'm not being paid for the extra stuff. I think once you work your allotted hours, whether it's 8 or 12, when you leave work, that's time for you and your family. It's time for you to relax and do whatever it is that you need to do. But vacations and getaways are definitely important. I always tell people, especially like whether you're taking on a new job, even a current job, you need to have those days that you just are able to request off to be able to relax, release.
Yeah, the point that you made about just being able to focus on the things that you really want to accomplish within a specific time frame and within boundaries is important. So the boundary piece of it is something that I think a lot of people are struggling with right now, where trying to cut off personal and business is a tough and delicate balance when you have a lot of competing items going on at the same time. And especially if you have deadlines that you're trying to meet, right, you might be running into situations situations where you're working random hours and trying to get things done, and it makes sense from the standpoint that you might have more flexibility during different times to get things done. So in a case where you might be taking care of a family member or a child or what have you, those things might require your attention at different times. So you might be focused more on getting tasks done during different hours of the day than typical, and that may work, but it also leads to a sense that things are just continuous and you don't see an end to your day because there's just so much going on. And so a getaway or a vacation is definitely a great way for you to have that pause and find that peace so that you come back refreshed enough and possibly even with new ideas that could help you move along your journey. So those are the times where some of the best ideas come about, because you're able to connect with people who you may not have regularly remained in contact with when you're taking just a pause. If you're really on a getaway, if you're out with friends or family that are important to you and it's just a time for you guys to reunite and have a good time, that also helps to rejig kind of those ideas of what's important and why you're doing what you're doing. Like, granted, you don't want to end up spending a ton of money on items that could be better served somewhere else, but regardless of what you're spending or how you're spending, you do need to be cognizant of just how it's making you feel and where you are at that time point without pressuring yourself to be doing better at whatever your focuses are. But I think that brings up another point of like what opportunities are available to you, because sometimes when you're in that constant state of working, you feel like if you stop, you might miss something, you might miss an opportunity, you might not be able to get something done that you wanted to. But like how would you say that you manage that aspect of like being prepared enough for an opportunity or getting everything that you wanted done, even in the heat of the points where you feel like you've just built up so much stress and you don't know how to channel it?
I try not to build up stress, but I think for me it's just like, I know I work for a company and I always think about anybody's working for a company, you're not a business for yourself, you're building somebody else's dreams. But like I always say, it's also about what you want to accomplish in your own dreams. So I always think about it from the standpoint, I don't want to be working for the rest of my life. So yeah, put in the time and whatever it is you're trying to accomplish so that you can get yourself where you want to.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to be putting too much time into someone else's dream for sure. But I think there's a level of feeling that you're pushing yourself to do your best and feeling like you want to be as prepared as you can for whatever opportunities are out there for you, right? So you might be trying all different avenues to get to a finish line, but to your point, is there an easier way to approach that? Like, could you be streamlining what you're doing so that you're not trying to reach everyone? If let's say you were trying to increase the number of customers that you have or trying to impress a group of people, right? Like, is it worth it to put more focus into how can I impress this one person, or how can I get these target customers so that I'm not spending all my time and energy trying to please everyone?
I think it's about knowing your network and managing your network well. So like for me, I'm big on networking, so I think it's just about having the right contacts and kind of using everybody, using all the pieces of the puzzle to get what you want. So like say for instance, you work with a client and they've been a client of yours for a long time, that I would be like, hey, well, if you refer other people to me, I'll pay you this amount of money. So, but now you have this one client that you've been working with who you have a good reputation with, who is pretty much outsourcing your services to other people. So he's bringing you more clients. So in the long run, you don't work as hard, but you're still building your network and getting what you want.
Right, yeah. I mean, definitely, the more that you can manage your circle and use your resources resources to the best of your ability, it'll certainly have greater payoffs than trying to reach every and anyone, right? Like you really do have to approach the situation with a clear mind and with some level of focus that helps you to address the areas and the things that you find most important. So I think the big items here are really the concept of you managing your time to focus on things that are most important, reassessing those items that you have on your goal list, your vision board, the things that you're looking forward to completing in the near future or in the long term, and then really just taking a pause so that you aren't in a space where you're automatically ready to quit every and anything that you've been putting your hard work and effort into, and just truly reassessing your goals, right? Like it's one thing to say that you are like trying to do all these things and there are items that are important to you, but like what is the tangible goal that you're trying to achieve, and how can you best put your time and energy into that without feeling overwhelmed and mental exhaustion? And sometimes it's just you need a quick getaway, and so finding the time to do those things and check in with your friends and family and whatever else it is that makes your day enjoyable, right? Like finding ways to incorporate those items in your day-to-day, in your week, however your schedule allows, once you kind of determine what's important. But you really do need to reevaluate those items, and knowing that pushing yourself is one thing, but if you're spreading yourself too thin, it's not going to end in the most productive and efficient way possible. So you really do have to begin balancing that out. But I think that's it for us today. We'll revisit this topic down the line, but definitely wanted to check in when it comes to this concept of burnout. Like we've talked about the idea of a financial checkup, but you also have to have this mental checkup as well, where you're looking at your own well-being and not just what's going on financially. So thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you again next time on Wealthworthy. Bye.
Bye.